Probate and treasurer. We'll start with the treasurer because we're going to discuss register of probate.
Would the commissioners like any history on the establishment of the salary for the elected position for treasurer? It would be best to hear it right from that person.
Well, from treasurer and for register of deeds as well, so.
Right, and I think both of them.
That'd be great to hear.
I'd like to have Tracy speak to.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful, thank you. Would you care to speak?
Sure. Well, what would you like to know?
The history.
Well, it was changed back about probably, it's been changed many times, put it that way, since I've been elected. I've been here about 18 years now. It started with a salary and a stipend, and then it continued that way for a while, and then later on, a certain commissioner wanted to change it to a stipend for the treasurer of $5,000 and to have a position for accounts payable, so that if another treasurer was ever elected, that the day-to-day operation could still continue in the office.
Yeah.
He wanted to split up the job. Even though I was doing the job at the time, his concern was if someone else came in and they didn't want to be here all the time, or what would happen to the office. So I didn't really want to agree at the time, but I did, and it's worked out okay so far. So they have an accounts payable specialist job, and they have a treasurer position. They've separated them, and it's gotten a stipend for, since I think it was like 2013, I believe, that they changed it. And then that just gets the cost of living increase every year.
So that started as $5,000, and currently it's around $6,400, somewhere in that neighborhood, because it's received those cost of living increases since 2013. And you're probably all very familiar with the situation with the Register of Deeds.
Right.
It was following a similar pattern where the office manager for deeds was separated out from the Register of Deeds, and we did that just this past year. When you had a vacancy in the Register of Deeds, we hired a qualified candidate in Tanya Belanger, and she's been that office manager until she was recently elected as a write-in candidate in November. And so in the budget, we still have a $5,000 pay for the Register of Deeds, and I think that thinking is the same, along the same lines. If that Register of Deeds position were to change through the election, you'd still have that office manager position, and the day-to-day operations wouldn't suffer.
Right.
So I guess my question, if you wanted to workshop it, is do you want to make any changes to those numbers, or do you just want to continue forward with the same practice, the same figures?
Can I ask a question? Register of Deeds, if someone was running to be elected register, do they know what the pay is?
They certainly could ask.
Well, because I don't want them to think they gotta come in here and get $50,000.
Well, and I think that's incumbent on anybody that runs for elected position. Typical like a road commissioner. Usually if someone had no idea and they come to take out papers for a road commissioner, they should ask, what's the road commissioners get paid? Do they get benefits? That's incumbent on the person that takes out papers.
Yeah.
Well, the advantage to the, like say, the treasurer, by having this sort of split or bifurcated, whatever you want to call it, I mean, you get the vacation time, sick time, all that accruing to the employee's benefit. If you're just getting paid as an elected official, you don't get any of that. You just show up and get your pay, and you get a cost of living increase, and you get Maine state retirement. I'm just speaking from my own experience, but you don't get any vacation time or sick days or anything. But you take them on your own because
That's correct.
you're an elected official, and
Right.
you have a certain degree of independence as a result. So I don't know. I'm kind of looking at Tracy here and saying which is better. But I don't know. It's maybe we should be talking about it so publicly. But, I'm sort of old school in the sense that when I worked here, nobody ever had contracts or anything.
Right.
You just showed up and got your pay if you were an elected official, and you got your cost of living increase, and you could always ask for more money if you wanted to. You might get it, you might not. and you've got your Maine State retirement and a parking space. And I was happy with that, but, and I suppose if what we're worried about is some grossly unqualified person running for the job and winning, I suppose at that time, the county commissioners could say, congratulations, we're paying you $3,000 a year, and we're keeping so-and-so on as the department head. But we go back to that. If that, it seems like it's not likely to happen, so if it did happen, we could respond at that time with whatever we should do. I'm just thinking out loud here, so.
So I think from listening to your experience, there is a difference, and there's a difference in state statute between those elected officials in the probate world and the Register of Deeds and Treasurer. They're separate statute-wise. And I believe that both the Register of Probate and the probate judge would wish to continue, just as you had mentioned, where there's a salary available, there's Maine State retirement, some health benefits, but no accrual of sick or vacation time. They would just set their own schedule into that.
Right, and I got health insurance.
Right, and so that I believe will continue as you experienced in probate. I don't think that's going to change, and with the exception of no more contracts. When it comes to deeds, we've all clearly experienced a lack of interest of anyone taking out papers. We've gone 2 consecutive election cycles without people taking out papers. Luckily, Tanya was willing to do a write-in. So going forward, there's always going to be that insecurity, so perhaps it's in the best interest of the county to have that separate, small stipended position. And again, do the same as you've done with the treasurer. I'm in favor of keeping those small, separate, stipended positions consistent going forward.
Patrick?
I concur. There's, it's not that easy to come off the street and manage all the systems and the processes that these two have to deal with. So I think it's better to keep that separate in the sense of the county, so you don't have huge disruptions when there's a change.
I do too. I think it protects the county and the workforce.
After I got clarification from you, that was my thought, is I don't think we should change anything right now, just keep it as is and keep those stipends and stuff separate from everything else.
It's just a little picky thing. The Register of Probate is pretty much in the same ballpark as the Register of Deeds. Statutorily, I don't think that.
Well, the statutory difference is the electorate of the county can't change it, where the electorate of the county can change treasurer or deeds from elected to appointed.
But as far as compensation goes, that person's.
Traditionally, and of course Victoria's been here for 6 terms, so traditionally she was paid similar to what you experienced. Somehow along the line, in past commissions, they changed it to a contract where she did accrue sick and vacation, and you'll have a chance to talk with her about it in executive session, so I won't put any words in her mouth, but I believe she'd rather be more consistent with the judge's style of compensation.
I think we should defer to our executive session.
Yeah, thank you.
The other little footnote to history here is that the Constitution of Maine prohibits a reduction in salary of the probate judge while that judge is serving. So you can never reduce the judge's pay. You can always increase it, but that is, you can reduce anybody else's pay. But if we decided to pay him a stipend, I think we'd be running afoul of something. So, but
That's not on the table.
Yeah. we're not.
I'd rather not put it on the table.
Yeah.
Good for an open review with the new judge.
All set? We're good? Everybody's happy, all right.
So the consensus is just keep doing what we're doing.
And there actually are resolutions at the end of the agenda to codify that.
And our next workshop is to discuss pets in the workplace policy.
When we were completing the handbook review, this came up, and there were a few emails back and forth about it. The county does not have a policy in regards to animals or pets in the workplace. If you want my opinion, I'm fairly ambivalent about it. I don't think I don't care one way or another, I'll say that. There has been some research done by myself and a few commissioners. If you want it put into the handbook, then this is your opportunity to talk about it now.
Well, we haven't had a pet policy, or official pet policy of any type, and I think going forward, if we were to have one, reviewing option 1, 2, and 3, I think I would start with option 1, just simply because it is short, sweet, simple, and if there were to be complications in the future, then we would work that in or out of the pet policy at that time.
I gotta agree with that.
I agree. I mean, I think the fact that I'm not, I don't feel like kind of going either way and being kind of laissez-faire about this, because it's been my experience and the experience of others that we had a pet problem in the courthouse, and because there was no policy, nobody could really do anything about it. So I think we need to have something written down. And this is not, unlike the other options that we've listed here, is not an open invitation for someone to think of a way to bring in their pet zebra with a doctor's letter explaining to the world how this is an important part of the psychological makeup. So I just think we should keep it very straightforward and simple and just say, if you have a dog service animal that's outlined in the statute, that's fine, otherwise that's what we're doing. And if somebody, I'm not saying that a person could not come forward and say, I forget what the term is, it's not a therapy animal, it's not a service animal, it's one step down. And
Right.
Well, emotional or therapy,
Emotional
yeah,
support.
emotional support.
emotional support animal, got to get a letter from a doctor, and it gets very, very messy. And I would not have in the policy manual a sort of a invitation for people to go down that road. If they want to do it, they could do it on their own, but I wouldn't encourage it. It seems like fraught with problems.
Yeah.
So
So just to clarify for everybody listening, if you're in agreement to option 1, it's as simple as this: pets and other animals other than a dog meeting the criteria of a service animal in the Americans with Disabilities Act are not allowed in the county courthouse. So that's, and there's a rationale, this is to maintain safety, cleanliness, and prevent disruption in the workplace. So if the commissioners are in agreement with that, we can certainly add that into the handbook. Is that what I'm sensing? Okay.
Yeah,
There was a question, and it's worth asking, because there are goldfish in about a half a dozen offices in this building. I told them they're closer to plants than they are animals. So that was my answer there, without getting into the weeds of creating a goldfish policy.
Put a light in it, call it a lamp.
What's that?
Put a light in it, call it a lamp.
maybe some prosecutorial discretion. It doesn't bark, or bite.
well, and the thing is, you don't pet goldfish, so they're not pets.
No petting by.
Well, I mean, pet is a very general term. You could argue that goldfish is a pet, but, hey,
I don't want to argue that.
You don't have to take it out, go with it.
that's probably as therapeutic as a dog or.
By 2 people. It's my duty.
We don't have any motion, we don't have a resolution on that anyway.
If it's okay with you, I would just, by consensus,
I just think
add
we
that
should
to
add
the
that
handbook,
in.
because we've been talking at the department head level about, rolling out the handbook, so.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
so, yeah, that's fine. Public hearing, no public hearings, public comment to allow members of the public to comment or reserve time to speak on an upcoming agenda item. Is there anybody here from the public who wants to speak now or reserve time, forever hold their peace? Anybody here to talk about something?
Just for your information, there are some members of the public here that are representing applications for matching grants.
Right,
And so they may be questions that they can answer later on.
very good, okay. I was just hoping they'd speak up now so there wouldn't be, end up with a disruption of comments, but I think we'll be able to work through it with everybody here. New agenda items, commissioners only? Anything? No? Okay, good. Administrator report.
So just a couple things in addition to what I submitted in your packets. I've been in touch with Bonnie Brooks, who is the director of the Somerset Humane Society, and the officials of the county have been invited to their board meeting. Through the holidays in January, they're not meeting, and so the next available meeting is February the 27th. And so I have told her that I would be willing and able to attend, and I believe Chairman Cezak has also put it on his calendar. So we'll follow through with that to relay our findings, and also to relay to the Humane Society that the county would wish to assist with the process of getting specs for a building and that sort of thing as part of the continued financial support toward a new building for the shelter. In this building, we're continuing some upgrades. I have asked Nelson, the head of maintenance, to start scheduling replacements of 5 toilets in this building, just to get some upgraded facilities in here. And also, each one of these little heater fan units, there's 23 of them in the building. Now that we have successfully implemented the new boiler heater, we need to upgrade these fans. And so it's about $1,500 a pop. And so we have the money in capital, and we've gotten some quotes in, and so I've had Nelson, again, try to schedule that. Primarily work on this side of the building first, because it runs colder as the north side, and it really doesn't get a whole lot of sunshine. So those will be some changes over the winter that we'll be working on.
Can we send those down to the Maine State Museum?
It's possible.
They've been there, they were there in 1978.
Yeah.
I just looked at it, and they haven't moved.
We suspect maybe the 60s is when they were.
Yeah.
State of the art.
It never really worked.
Well, we're hoping we'll fix that. So just to remind everyone, the next commissioners meeting is going to be Thursday, January 2nd. There's going to be a 2 o'clock start for training. So just for department heads, we don't anticipate you to come at 2, because they'll be doing some of their required training. And 2:45, we've scheduled DeVita to come up as a Dedimus Justice and swear in the newly electeds. So that'll be 2:45 on that day before the meeting, January 2nd. The Maine County Commissioners Risk Pool has been doing their due diligence on liability insurance, and actually they have a either a Zoom or email meeting next week, right before Christmas.
Monday at 9:30 a.m.
At
9:30.
9:30, yep. So that meeting will be when the county commissioners that are on that risk pool board set the rates for each individual county. So we should know something affirmative for our liability. From my viewing of it, and perhaps Chairman Cezak sees the same thing, it may not be as big as increase as we feared, because they've made some adjustments to deductibles and so forth. And finally, we had a department head meeting.
30 in the morning.
Yeah, we had a department head meeting yesterday here in this chambers, and part of the discussion was going around to each of the departments and getting an idea of what they're thinking of as far as strategic planning for the future of each department. At a recent meeting, there was a presentation from a gentleman from the state of Maine, Department of Economic and Community Development, that talked about strategic planning, and I believe the chairman saw it and I saw it as well. And so it got us thinking about maybe going down that road and doing some strategic planning countywide. What that actually looks like, we haven't really hashed that out, but we discussed it yesterday, and I believe that our connection with Kennebec Valley Council of Governments offers us some people that have a planning expertise that might be able to come alongside and provide that to us. There was a study done by Municipal Resources back in 2013 that did a pretty detailed study of each department. That might be a starting place, at least to get an idea of where we've come in the last 10 years. But also, I think a 3 to 5 year strategic plan on, your capital investments, exploring additional services that the county may offer, but also exploring additional revenues that the county may be able to find to help offset property taxes, along with, taking a look at your staffing and that sort of thing. So if the commissioners are in favor of something like that, I'd like to reach out to KB Cog in the new year and see what we could plan on that.
I'm in favor of that. I think that's a good idea. I also noticed that Franklin County is going to be going through the same process with the strategic plan, so we might want to reach out to them as well.
That's a good idea, yeah. And they've really gone through quite a change. They've moved from 3 commissioners to 5 commissioners, and 4 of those commissioners are brand new.
Right.
So they've got quite a bit of planning to do. And that's all I had.
Okay, finance reporting.
And it's hard to believe, but we're almost halfway through the year. All the departments are still running favorable to plan. It looks like currently we're about 400,000 favorable to plan. I don't expect that during the second part of the year we're going to see large variances from budget, because our departments are currently fully staffed, except for the sheriff's office. I did pass out a budget schedule for FY 2026, it should be in your packet. It looks like in the March is really going to be the commissioners month. From March 10th to April 6th is when we plan to go over the budget with the department heads and the commissioners. I strongly recommend that we try to find dates in which all the commissioners will be, because I think the meetings with the department heads are, don't take this the wrong way, actually more beneficial for the commissioners than the meetings with the budget committee. So if we could try to make sure that we can get some times where all the commissioners can meet to go over and ask whatever questions you want when it comes to the department heads. And then April timeframe is when we're going to actually start doing with the budget committee. And that's what I have. Any questions?
I guess the question would be is if people are going to be here due to considering their vacation times, or what the commissioners are doing for vacation.
I'm gonna be here until April.
Okay.
And I usually bail out in March, which is always a bad time, but I'm hopeful that if I can get involved early in February with the department head meetings, that might be very helpful for
Yeah.
me. Is that what you're talking about? Or-
Yeah.
Well, any way we can work it, if Tim wants to actually have some of the commissioners sit in when we go over the first version of it, because in the February timeframe, we're sitting down with Tim and the department heads and going through it, and then in March, we do the commissioners.
Yeah.
But if for some reason we can't make that work, I'm
But
sure-
you were suggesting that we get involved at the department head level.
No, I guess what I'm saying is, in the March timeframe is when the department heads actually present the budget to the commissioners. In the February timeframe, they present it to administration, and they work through whatever changes we want to do at that point in time, and then we go over it with the commissioners.
Well, I've been traditionally appearing by Zoom for that first big county commissioner meeting.
And I think that makes it kind of hard for you.
It does make it hard for everyone.
That's why I'm saying, will you be gone the full month of March?
It's tentatively the,
Okay.
so I'll work something out.
I think once we get a schedule of department heads,
Yeah.
when we're going to do the individual one-on-ones, I think we can schedule something.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I can just do my homework and maybe talk with Tim and before I leave, particularly with the major departments, the sheriff, the jail.
Yeah.
You know, get up to speed so I don't have to ask a lot of stupid questions on Zoom, which is difficult.
Well, we just want to make sure that all your questions, concerns, ideas, changes are put in before we present it to the budget committee.
Right, okay.
Well, that's it. Okay. There's some department heads here. Is there any department heads that want to make a report for us? Mike?
Yeah, we had 393 calls for service last week. We have 3 new deputies that graduate from the academy this Friday. And the school resource officer for the town of Madison started last week. Things are going well in that area. Sheriff isn't here because he's executing a search warrant in town of Cornville right now as we speak.
I'm sorry, what was that?
He's executing a search warrant in the town of Cornville as we speak. Not his house.
I was gonna say, is
Thank you. Tanya?
Yes, so I do have an update on the software situation we're dealing with in Deeds. I heard back from IQS, and their bid came in just under $52,000 for the year, which is what I expected. We're at $32,000 right now with Avenue. To buy another year with Avenue would be around $48,000. So I've reached out to Avenue to get a written contract for that extra year so that we can read the language of it and move on from there. So as soon as I get that, we'll go to the next step.
Did you ask IQS for a contract?
I asked them for estimate, and that's what I received.
Ah,
Yep. Because I need the year to see what our options are.
yeah, okay.
That's the idea of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted to get their contract language as well to compare.
I already have that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so it's not necessarily the final contract, it's a proposal, I should say,
Yeah,
from
but-
IQS.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm waiting on now, is Avenue's 2020 one-year program.
Great,
Okay.
thank you. Anyone else have any? Tracy? All right, I guess we're all set with our department heads. No unfinished business, new business. Resolution 24-241 to award matching grant to Baker Mountain Ski Club for $3,000. Do we want to take up a group of these in one, or do you want to do them all individually?
I would, I think we could do several groups. So I would make a motion that we act favorably and make the awards that are set forth in resolutions 24-241 through 246 is the first sort of.
Through 246? To include,
Matching grant of the town of Skowhegan.
Okay.
to include this group, okay. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Is there any discussion on any of these matching grants?
So if I may, just so again, the people in the audience would understand, you are, by doing resolution 241 through 246, you are moving to approve the grant to Baker Mountain Ski Club for $3,000, to Kennebec High School for $35.97, to the Forks Area Trails Club for $12,804, to the town of Mercer for $65.94, to the town of Madison Recreation for $8,500, and to the town of Skowhegan for IT upgrades for $15,000. So those are numbers 41 through 46. I just want to clarify.
No, thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? Okay. And we have resolution 24-247, and Commissioner Alsop, you had another group?
I'd make a motion to award all the matching grants set forth in resolutions 24-247 through 24-252. And I would rely on our county administrator to briefly list what those grants are, as he has just done for the first bunch. That's my motion.
I got the gist of it. So, let me just jot this down here. So again, you're taking a bulk of resolutions to award the Maine Grain Alliance $14,984 for marketing, The Bowman Center for Enrichment in St. Albans for $14,500 for efficiency work to their building. Somerset Woods trustees for $15,000 to upgrade windows in their office facility. The Palmyra Park Boosters for $14,000 to resurface basketball and pickleball courts. The Mercer Meeting House for $8,150 to repair the building's bell tower. And then to L.C. Bates Natural History Museum, $15,000 to weatherize their building in the basement.
And is a discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? There's the go. Thank you. And we have Resolution 24-253 to award a matching grant to Clark Enterprises for $15,000.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion on this grant?
I would vote against it because it's a private enterprise, and I think it is more appropriate. They want to develop a building for commercial uses in, I think, Anson. And I think we should sort of refer them to, I have the right one here, I hope
Yeah.
I do.
That's the former town office, I believe.
And I think we should refer them to the good offices of the Somerset County Economic Development, whatever, because I think it's appropriate for us as a county to loan them money to support their business, but I don't think we should be giving them a grant.
I would agree with that.
So procedurally speaking, you have a motion and a second. You can just simply vote 0 to 4, and so the motion will fail. If that's the case, then I will contact them and put them in touch with Christian Savage over at SEDC, and I've already talked to Christian about it, and he understands the project as he saw it in the review committee, so.
So I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Any, all opposed?
We don't do that.
It's a 0-4.
Thank you.
And Resolution 24-254 to establish a salary for the position of elected register of deeds. And I would, for this year coming, $5,000 salary.
Yeah, and that would be and I put in here, in my notes, in the motion, it'll be effective January 1st, 2025.
Yeah. The other thing, these elected position salaries follow the calendar year, not the fiscal year, because of the nature of them being elected through a calendar year basis. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. And to a Resolution 24-255 to establish a salary for the position of elected treasurer. And I believe we have an amount of $6,389 and change?
76.
6,389.76. A motion for the elected treasurer, salary of $6,389.76. Is there, so move, second. Discussion. Discussion, Patrick.
Does it have to be anything in this motion that states that it receives a COLA each year?
Well, it
Because,
would only receive a COLA if we wanted it to.
Okay, but
And that would be on a year-by-year basis, because there's,
right, but I need to know for business plans, which starts next month for 2026.
if you want to provide a COLA. And then
There's
just-
always been one, so it would be just continuing past.
Wouldn't that fall under the class of what we're talking about, is everything staying the same? Is what we were talking about. So
And that COLA was
It would
suggested
follow what the non-union received during the business plan.
3.5. or 3.
3.5 in the current budget, right?
So did you want to amend the motion to include that, a friendly amendment, or
Make
just?
the motion, I second it.
You know, or if we do that, we could do the same thing for deeds.
Well, that's what we discussed previously anyway, that things right now with the stipends and everything else will set the same. And then if they want to negotiate salary, they come before us, so.
So we want to just incorporate that into this standing motion, that it's a,
Include the-
it's going to include the 3.5.
Right.
Oh,
So
so,
I'm kind of losing credit. So we just approved 5,000 and we're also approving a cost of living increase on top of the 5,000?
no, we're not, we're discussing the treasurer.
Yeah,
We haven't given any COLA for the deeds,
okay.
but we're discussing the treasurer.
So if you were to follow the COLA history of the treasurer, and you wanted something that would take effect January 1st, that would include a 3.5% COLA, then you would approve a dollar figure of 6,581.45. That way, that would include that COLA. Now, the deeds stipend has not traditionally received a COLA, but I don't know how long that stipend has been in existence, and you've gone through several iterations. So I can certainly justify the difference with a long-term elected official as opposed to a newly elected official, and that $5,000 may apply for a COLA next year.
Well, it would seem to me that the reason for giving a COLA to the stipend is the particular person that is the office manager is not getting the full COLA. If part of that person's compensation package includes the stipend, then that person is not getting the full cost of living increase that everybody else is getting, because a certain percentage of that person's salary is not being subject to the COLA. So I think we should definitely do the COLA for the stipend, even though it does seem strange to apply it to a stipend. But I think the bottom line makes sense for the bottom line, I guess is what I'm saying.
So we don't separate the whole thing, just part of it.
Well, it's a separate COLA. There'd be a separate COLA for the salary for the elected treasurer, just like it would be a separate COLA for the elected deeds, a separate COLA for the elected commissioners.
Right, we're just talking about deeds right now.
I know.
Yeah.
No, we're not talking.
Well, actually, we're talking about treasurer right now.
We're talking about the treasurers right now.
Right.
We were talking about deeds.
So,
Take it all back.
You've already made a motion and passed it on deeds for $5,000 starting January 1st.
So okay,
If you were to apply a COLA, it would be next year.
right, okay.
So now, if you were to pass what you've motioned at 6389.76, that would be the same for 2 consecutive years for the treasurer. If you want to incorporate a COLA, then January 1st, it would be 6581.45.
And what's the motion right now?
The motion right now is just to establish a salary for the position of the elected treasurer of $6,389.76. I've asked the first and second of the motion to see if they just wanted to put a friendly amendment that would add the 3.5 on to that without going through the vote of amendments. Just add it in.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that.
I'll do that.
second.
Okay.
All right.
So we're at the 65 number.
That's what, it'll be reflected that way in the minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
And Patrick will know that.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. There. You're in.
So how do we go back on deeds now?
I wouldn't recommend changing deeds because it's a new position as opposed to Tracy's established position. Therefore, you just set the salary at 5, and it will receive a COLA January of next year, 26.
But, let me, I'm just going back to what I said earlier. Does this mean that particular department head of deeds who was receiving both salary for that position and the stipend, if that person doesn't get
So she's never received a stipend
Okay,
at
okay,
all.
all right.
This is a starting point, January 1st.
Got it, okay, I understand.
I know it seems awkward, but, I know it seems a little awkward, but it's the first time
Yeah,
for our newly elected
right.
Register of Deeds.
Well, that stipend for deeds has been there at least 10 years.
So what you're recommending is to take a step back and do that same thing for deeds right now?
We never gave anybody,
I would leave the motion as you did it for 5,000, because that individual has not received a stipend at all, which, if I want to open this can of worms, I got nothing coming, right, because I told you at 4 o'clock. So, if you want to open this can of worms now, the question becomes then, say in the future, another individual gets elected as the treasurer. What do you set that stipend at then? If you allowed these years to go by with a COLA, does that newly elected person start at 5,000? Or do they start where the previous elected person left off?
I think it's totally up to the commissioners at the time.
It is.
And if you want to set it at $3,
Yeah.
I guess we could, but I mean, this is the problem with the bifurcation theory, but I just think we deal with it as the situation arises, because the only reason we're really doing this is because we're worried about some kind of really weird thing happening in the future. And, well, I guess there are other reasons.
which has happened.
I just think we just deal with it then.
So when the 3 new commissioners came on, they just assumed the stipend of commissioners that was already in place for the previous 3 that were there.
Yeah, I just figured, what are we
And,
gonna pay?
and
Totally.
there has not been a COLA attached to commissioners' stipends. We're not talking about doing that right now.
It's not on the agenda, but we are talking about elected officials
I already,
in general.
we didn't take one in the last.
I'm all for doing that for the commissioners.
And as far as I can see, one has never been applied to commissioner stipends.
Right.
They just adjust it if they feel.
So back in 2020, there was a across-the-board adjustment from 7,000 to 9,000 with an extra 1,000 for the chair. But prior to 2020, it was 7,000 per commissioner and 8,000 for the chair. So I believe, again, to your point, you have the power to make that decision whenever you want to, rather than applying an automatic COLA to the commissioner's salary.
But just to go down memory lane, last March when we were talking about this, we decided that we were not, because we were looking at the administration budget line, and that incorporated a cost of living increase for the commissioners.
There was one put in.
There was one put in last year
The
for,
planning,
And we,
oh, we took it out.
We took it out because,
Historically, would we have done that?
Every
Too
year.
much money.
Well, yes, we put it in.
I was the one who said no.
It would never actually transpire.
so that was not the first time that we took it out. It's been,
I think it was the first time we took it out, because we've never had one before that was automatically put, oh, actually, we were the year prior, it was automatically put in. And I don't think that we really
Right.
noodled on it, but the second year, we did and took it out. So now if we wanted to, we could put it back in. Or we could just give ourselves a raise.
I think we should workshop this and evaluate what other similarly situated county commissioners throughout the state get paid and decide what we should do.
Well, what I've learned is when you've seen one Maine county, you've seen one Maine county. Because none of them are the same.
Well, I mean, I'd be interested to see what Franklin and Piscataquis do. Those would be.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
So that would.
I was happy, sir, you didn't get mine to a charitable organization, because I really didn't expect to get it when it county hearing.
Yeah,
Technically, we can't do that. We have to give it to you, and you have to do that.
I had some of that.
Thanks, I feel with deduction.
I think we're generally happy, but it's so interesting to talk about it.
So did you vote on
We
the
voted on the resolution
250?
for the elected treasurer with the
Okay.
COLA.
All right,
It was an affirmative.
all right, good, thank you.
Those are good, don't say that way they are.
So we'll put on the workshop for next year, next time,
Yeah.
commissioners.
Hold on, did we get Did we do 256?
Not yet, we're getting there. We're just,
Okay.
because we're still on the elected.
We gotta hire these corrections officers before you're done.
Yeah. Well, anyway, now, resolution 24-256, to approve the hire of Caitlin Grenier and Edward Coombs as corrections officers at the Somerset County Jail. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? So go. Capital reserve expenditures, non-unorganized territory. Dave, you want to speak for us about unorganized territories today?
The only thing new I could tell you is I signed off on the final FEMA paperwork from last December's storm. I thought everything was already done, and then I got a notice saying this had to be signed, so I signed it, I sent it in, so it should put it in MEMA's hands now.
Okay.
So we're a step closer, but we still have no money yet.
Of course. How about our sand pile, salt and sands, and our agreements with any other extraneous towns and,
Right now, we're just ordering salt as normal. Everything in that thing is good. Nothing needs to be discussed.
and we've cured the, collaboration that we had with the other town in Piscataquis County.
Yeah, Kingsbury they've written off, they're no longer part of it.
Right.
They're actually getting their salt and sand brought over from Abbott, I believe. And it's being trucked over and being used in Kingsbury. So they have resigned any kind of ownership or taking care of anything at the Brighton Plantation location. It's just us and Brighton right now.
Okay. Very good. Just glad to see that that's become resolved and we're moving forward.
Yes, yeah, it's one of those things in the past, don't want to look back on. Just learn from it.
Yeah, right.
Things not to do.
All right. And I think I see an attorney hiding in the background. Is the DA? Wish to report?
Excuse me, nothing new from the DA's office, other than we've got 3 new people who are trudging along and doing well from the new hires. It's been business as usual and will continue through the holiday season as we see so far. No major, excuse me, no major trials on that are going on right now that are set for any trials. So it's business as usual. So.
Very good, I guess. John, did you have your hand up?
No.
Thank you. And we approved the corrections hiring. Now we are on to the unorganized territories, and we got warrants. Resolution 24-257 to approve the treasurer's warrant for general fund, Somerset County Jail and unorganized territory for the total of $152,034.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Miscellaneous discussion items, commissioners only? Nothing, okay, thank you. And executive session, Title I, Section 405, 6A personnel. Are we ready for the executive session?
Yep.
So moved. Is there a second? Yep. Second. So we are in executive session.
I hope the lights last on.
So, Robert, did you see that MOU?
Yeah, I did, yeah, I'm just about ready to sign it.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have conversations. They'll be professional, it's fine.
Tim, why so little money this